So, if you look into the next 5 to 10 years, what do you think are some of the biggest problems that we're facing as a species on the planet?
Okay, so I'll actually categorize it in three distinct buckets. The first bucket is the fact that we're very powerful as a species and not disciplined or careful enough. And so the consequences of our actions can no longer be ignored. And so those consequences are coming back to get us. So we're going to be looking at all of the many, it's not one or two, it's hundreds of thousands of distinct consequences of, say, for example, the amount of concentrated chemistry, hormones, and heavy metals that we introduce into our ecosystem and the impact that has on the broader ecosystem and the impact it has back on us. The impact that we have on our ontological environment by shifting the amount of time that we spend indoors versus outdoors and the effect that it has on us. Obviously, the various effects we have on the constitution of our atmosphere, the impacts we have on the constitution of our oceans, the impacts we have on the constitution of our soil. Right? Those are all one gigantic bucket. And the point is, we have too much power, we have too little wisdom, and that asymmetry is going to start in an accelerating fashion. It's biting us in the ass. Second has to do with our relationship to ourselves as humans. So again, for all of human history up until the 1940s, we could kind of get away with being dicks and being pretty poor at managing ourselves and each other, and that's no longer the case. That the whole set of human management techniques, so the forms of government and peacemaking that we have had, are inadequate to the challenge, and we're going to have to get extremely good, extremely quickly at actually resolving conflict, really, truly, deeply healing the underlying thing that causes the conflict, and getting every discrete human being into a position of what we call sovereignty, which I can talk about if you'd like. But basically, learning how to relate to humanity. And then the third category is our relationship to our own tools and technologies. And of course, that third category impacts the first two as well. But whether this has to do with, say, for example, the notion of how we empower machines like Facebook to then come back and manipulate our limbic system, which then makes us incapable of actually behaving well in the world, or we empower things like, say, energy systems like nuclear reactors, which generate risks that we don't really understand how to contemplate, or continue on, fill in the blank. Phones that have dopamine jacking systems that decrease our capacity to be adaptive in the environment. All three of those are linked, but they're all three distinct. And the point is that their union, the connection between them, generates the total threshold that we have to get through. If we can't handle the total complexity of all three of those simultaneously, then it literally does lead to a collapse event.